Welcome back to the show. I'm so excited you decided to spend a few minutes with us today. And once again, Doug Larson, the head guy at Safeguard Recruiting. This is a crazy decision, brain power of Doug that started this thing way back in the early 2020s. Doug, how are you doing?
Doing excellent today, Travis.
Man, I know you've been busy. You've been all over the country. You got clients popping up, man, but we're going to sort of put that aside today because I'm excited about today's guest. And we're going to bring Frank McGaha on. And Frank his background is federal law enforcement, but he talks to new recruits and potential candidates all the time about the process of getting hired in law enforcement. And I thought it was super interesting what he had to say. He talks about getting rid of these sort of roadblocks and friction. He talks about what the candidates are nervous about, how departments should address that. And I love it because it was perspective that we've been talking about a long time, but this is a guy that is training both online and in person these kids all the time about this process. And what's your thoughts on what he had to say?
Yeah, I think, and we've talked about it a lot, that applying for a job in law enforcement is a scary endeavor when you don't understand the process start to finish. And that's why communication's key. And he's got insight from both sides that he brings to the table. And departments can learn a lot about what your candidates are thinking each step of the way. And we don't want any of them, especially the good candidates, self-eliminating because they don't understand part of the process or where they're at, or they get nervous. So this is a very important piece that I think everybody should take note on, and the information he's passing along.
I couldn't agree more. You're going to love the conversation. Without further ado, let's get it going. Welcome back. It's such an honor to have Frank McGaha on. He's a federal law enforcement professional. He's a U.S. Navy veteran. He's the founder of Armogan Consulting and Training, where he helps candidates become police officers. We're going to get into all that today, but his background has been so helpful in that he graduated in the top 1% worldwide from the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. He served as the lead protection officer for presidential appointees across 2 administrations, as well as an officer in charge of a federal special weapons unit. Frank is almost exclusively helping out people that want, almost said kids, but people that want to be police officers. And he's got such great information that I think can not only help those that are listening that want to be police officers, but also the departments that are listening that are trying to hire police officers. Frank, man, thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, I appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Now, Frank, what got you interested in helping people that want to be police officers? And I will tell you, you're in a tight niche. There's not hardly anybody doing that. We talk a lot about training once people get on, but there's not much training to help people get on police departments. So what got you interested in that?
Yeah, I can't take the credit for this one either. I had a mentor when I was starting my company and everything. I did exactly what every other, prior military and prior law enforcement officer does. I'm going to start a consulting firm and help with, public safety. And that's what I did. And then I was looking to grow and expand and really focus and try to, build it into something. We were so out there teaching TACMED, firearms, situational awareness, everything, CPR, first aid, everything you could possibly think of. And then it just wasn't getting the traction that I was looking for. So an advisor said, hey, what's the question you get asked the most? I was like, well, I was in law enforcement. Everyone asked me how to become a cop. They said, make some content on that. I had some other content out there. It didn't do real well. I made some content on that, and then it just blew up. We got 10,000 views right off the bat with it. And then my advisor said, keep making content on that. And I was in the middle of law school at the time, I just started law school, and I had to make a determination, like, am I going to go all in on this, or am I going to stay in law school? And I said, you know what? This is probably an area I can truly help people. I found that it wasn't niche, like you just said. No one was doing it. We kind of carved this out for ourselves. And we went all in, and it's just exploded and been a blessing since then.
And we've had multiple episodes here where we sort of put this myth to the recruiting crisis to bed. It's an excuse that police departments use when they're not recruiting right and their processes aren't tight. And what we will continue to say, because we have clients all over the country we're helping recruit, and there's never an issue finding candidates. I mean, I'll give you an example. Philadelphia Police Department, they would need 1,000 candidates a month. We did that, and they got 1,000 candidates a month, and it's been going on for 2 years. So there's never a shortage of finding people that want to express interest and apply at police departments. But you're speaking to actual candidates, and I have a feeling you're pretty busy. You tell me, is there a so-called recruiting crisis in American law enforcement?
Absolutely not. I'm so bold to say I think we got more data than the FBI on police recruiting at this point.
Yeah,
There is no shortage whatsoever. We have over 200,000 views a month just on our little niche social that we have going on, and we don't have a whole lot of followers, but we have a little niche social. We got 200,000 views between our two main platforms of YouTube and TikTok, and I can't keep up with the comments or the questions or anything like that. We have more leads than we can facilitate for people that are wanting to get into law enforcement. All my instructors are booked up for all their open available calls.
So what do you think? So what's the disconnect? I mean, I agree with you. What's going on with these departments that continue to be 10, 15, 20, 25%? I mean, Phoenix Police right now is down 600, and they've been down 600 for years.
I think Capitol Police is over 1,000 officers short.
Yeah,
right
well, tell me. I'll make it easy on you. It's the police department's fault. It's not the candidate's fault. So what's the disconnect within the agencies that why they can't grab these candidates?
I'm going to blame it on both for the sheer fact that I just had a Police One article that just came out discussing this. And I'm going to say the same thing I said in that. It's both their faults. One, you have the candidates that are saying like, hey, I'm going to put in all this work. You gotta give me some feedback and everything like that. And that's true. But at the end of the day, you're still asking for employment. So you can't just sit here and say, oh, I did what you told me to. You now have to employ me. No, this is still an employer. You just can't go in there and I passed everything. You owe me a job. No, if we were going for the CEO of a Fortune 500 and we were going between me and you, right? They'd only pick one of us at one point. There's only one billet for it. So candidates have to understand that they're still asking for employment. It's not this you owe this to me concept. And then departments need to realize that you don't have the control you can't sit here and say, hey, we're short staffed and the candidates are X, Y, and Z. They don't meet, this requirement, or they don't do this, or they don't do that, or we're not going to do these new hiring techniques to reach out. What's the analytics say? Where do most people spend their time, viewing stuff? You're not going to do a TV commercial. Yeah.
We get asked constantly about TV commercials and movie theater commercials, and we keep saying 90% of every application in America of all industries are coming through this. Why?
And it's free.
Yeah.
You can advertise for free with social media. I don't want to hear if a department doesn't have a social media account that is active, and I mean active, I mean you are posting on it 5 days a week. I mean, I'll give you the weekends off, right? Your weekend shift gets a break. But if you're not posting on it 5 days a week, and whether that's just to reach out to your community or to build up your interaction with your community, it's such a wasted resource, and it's your number one wasted resource at this point.
And so, and the other thing that we keep seeing, Frank, is the front door to that police department is their website. And what we do for agencies is we build recruiting focused websites. It's just like your business, Frank. You have one goal when people come to your website, a lead. You want people to contact you. Well, I don't know if you've been paying attention to police department websites lately. We're going to get the start, middle, and end here. But we audited over 100 of them. None of them had a 1 or 2 click to application. None of them were open to artificial intelligence, the AI engines actually even seeing the website. Out of 100, none of them. We actually offered a free service to optimize all these websites, and no one's standing in line. I mean, it's almost as if the leaders of the department are looking at their desktop with their 45-inch screen and going, this is a great looking website. But the look of the website doesn't matter. What matters is are you getting people coming through the site that want to work for you? Is that correct?
No, absolutely. I can tell you I audit departments, every single day for our candidates, right? And one of our criteria that we'll use is their website, and because that's where we're going to get their information on what is required for that candidate to be considered eligible. I will tell you 40% of the time, I can't even find what that department's eligibility or criteria is at this point.
Well, that's low. You're giving some grace here because, I mean, I've seen departments where I couldn't even not only find that, I couldn't even find where to apply if I wanted to apply.
That's what I'm saying. Thankfully, because of what I do, I've been able to do this so long that I can pretty much go to any government website for any local department. I mean, state's pretty easy, but any local department. And I can realize I'm probably going to go to their city page. And because what they do is they have a landing page for the department, but not its own designated website, which, okay, I know that. But how many other people or candidates do? Not many, right? Yeah. So then I go there, I'll find that. And then I'm going there and they say, oh, well, we advertise on federal, we advertise on USA Jobs. Most candidates don't even know what USA Jobs are.
Or how about my favorite one, which is they make the candidate click 2 or 3 times. Then you have to register. Then you have to remember your
then you
password.
Have to go over to government jobs.
It's insane. And so just to give people an example of what I'm talking about, we just completed a website for the Milwaukee Police Department, joinmilwaukeepd.com. Don't go to Google because they've got some competing websites. Joinmilwaukeepd.com. It's a one-page website. I think you would not argue with me that it's going to be very easy to see the requirements. It's going to be very easy to submit your information. And I will tell you the first month statistics of that website, they got a 70% conversion rate of people that hit the website that said, yes, I want to work for you. So if you're not getting a high conversion rate, there's something wrong. But what we're seeing is like I said, it's not that they're doing it on purpose, Frank. We've never had to know this because there were just so many people that would wait forever to get a job, that didn't matter if the process were broken. But that website is that first point of impression. Like if it's messed up, they're going to think your department's messed up. And that goes the same with communication. We try to tell these departments, listen, when somebody expresses interest, we'll set it up an automatic text and email automatically. But then within 24, 48 hours, you got to make a phone call. You got to meet them because what we have heard from a lot of candidates, and I'm interested to see what you've heard is if a department is not reaching out to me quickly, I think they don't care about me.
It's not even what I've heard. I mean, yes, that's true. Everything you just said is true. This is going to be even worse. It's what I teach. It's what I tell a candidate. Why do you want to apply to a department that you're unsure? I tell a department, we have a department audit, right? To decide if you want to work for a department. One, does it meet your financial needs, right? Because at the end of the day, if I say, hey, I'll make you a cop tomorrow, but you got to work 50, 60-hour weeks, I'm not going to pay you, and I'm not going to give you any benefits or health care or anything. Are you going to do it? No, because at the end of the day, it is a career. It's not just a job, but it's employment. You need it to be able to provide, because if you're working 50, 60 hours a week, you're not going to be able to go work for someplace else to do a job, right? Make money. So one, does it meet your financial needs? Because at the end of the day, it's still employment. Two, is it obtainable and are you eligible? If I can't find out if you're eligible for that department or if they're currently hiring, which is the criteria for obtainability, are they currently hiring and do you meet eligibility requirements? If I can't find that, I'm not going to recommend you apply to them. So if I can't find that on their website, and I'm a lot better at looking at a website than a basic candidate is because it's what I do all day, every day. If I can't find it, I'm going to say, hey, let's pick another third department because I don't want you applying to this department. And here's why. Because if they tell you no because you're ineligible, you now have to report that to every other department that you apply to, and it can snowball and cost you your career.
Right.
And then number three is, do you support their mission? Right? Don't tell me, hey, I hate the NYPD and I want to go change the NYPD from the inside out, because you're not changing anything your rookie year as an officer. I can promise you that. But yeah, I mean, do you support that department, that community? Is it obtainable? Are you eligible? And does it meet your financial needs? And if I can't find that information, as your advisor, as your instructor, my recommendation is not to apply to that department. Pick a different one.
So informative. I mean, Frank, I think to have someone here on the show that actually speaks to these candidates about their decision-making process, we're going to have you back, man, because this is intel the departments need. Now, unfortunately, we've heard from a lot of departments, and I'll give you one example. One particular department had a big drop-off between the the application and the initial test. A lot of departments, you apply first and you take the first test. And they had a significant drop off. And so I said, well, hey, because send me the messaging you're sending the candidate after they apply. And this messaging all but told that candidate, don't show up. You're a punk. You're the, I mean, it was the most egregious type message. And so I asked the guy, I said, why are you sending this message? And he goes, if they can't take it, we don't want them. And I go, good luck with that, buddy. Good luck with that.
I'm willing to, I understand that my career, I stood on the shoulders of those that came before me. All right. I understand that. I respect everyone that came before me and everything like that. But I also hear from candidates all the time, oh, hey, yeah, I got this mentor from, he's been an officer for 20 years. He told me just lie on my background. Or I'll speak, or I'll get comments on our YouTube channel. Yeah, I was an officer, back in the 90s. And yeah, we just lied. We just did whatever we wanted and that's not what I'm doing here. My goal is to put good officers on the street. Everyone says, hey, let's build the bridge. You can burn that bridge down. I don't want there to be that means we're standing on two separate pieces of land. I want law enforcement standing right next to the community service because they're part of the community. When you take off the uniform, you're just a community member. Yeah. Right. So no, I'm not going to sit here and let an old mindset, because if I gave you a polygraph now, would you pass it? If you weren't already an officer, if you didn't have 20 years and go apply to another department that has a polygraph in a background that you have to go through just like a brand, would you pass it?
Right.
And the funny part is people say, oh, we've lowered the standard. Really? Because you didn't have to do a social media review, right? Polygraphs were semi-operational towards like 2005, 2010.
Well, there's almost a public pressure to look for ways to not hire people these days.
Yeah. And then you got the psych has completely shifted since 2020. Completely shifted. And some departments, even back in the late or early 90s, late 90s, and even early 2000s, didn't even really have a psych. You're not going to ever convince me. Maybe it's not harder or easier one way or another, but it's definitely different. So, I mean, I just got done interviewing new instructors, and some of them were saying, oh yeah, we're just, the candidate of officers have just dropped completely. And I'm like, this is not going to be the right job for you. You already
Let me ask you this. If we have the ear of a lot of recruiters, police chiefs that are frustrated, if you were to give them just a quick piece of advice, if you had 5 minutes in front of them right now that need to hire more, what would you tell them?
If you're really looking to hire more candidates, just talk to them. Set up a mentorship program, right? Just set up a mentorship program where you can even, it benefits you. You get to see them before they apply. Whether you're running fitness training, whether you're running, and I don't want to hear I don't have the staff for it. Well, then you're not trying to fix your problem.
Right.
Right? Because you can make it happen. I can tell you right now, if I was ever short-staffed, I'm the first person volunteering at the PT test to help, instruct the PT test or to do the background or the board interviews for new candidates, so I can alleviate the burden on myself and other officers, because we're short-staffed and we're all pulling overtime. No, just all you have to do is talk to them, and if you make them feel like you actually care about them and like this is a good department, not just some officer mill where you're just going through and filling. That's security. That's what security does, right? Security, they hire whoever and then they fire quick, right? If you're going to treat law enforcement that way, you're going to get those type of candidates, right? And then, but if you get in there, you're going to get a candidate that says, well, yeah, I mean, I could go work for ABC Police Department and make $5 or $6 grand more starting, but I'm going to work for XYZ PD because, man, I've done ride-alongs. I've done everything. The chief has been super cordial with me, and I understand that, that they're just being nice, but still they've made me feel welcomed.
We have a client, small town in Missouri. They have no recruiting issues and they have no budget for it. But here's what they do. When somebody expressed interest, they said, come on down and meet us. And the guy walks him into the chief's office. He shakes the chief's hand. They set up a ride along for him, and there's people standing in line. It's that simple. But the issue is, Frank, back in our heyday in the 90s and 2000s, when there were thousands of people taking tests, we didn't have to have that service oriented, experience for them. But that's really all it takes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing: is you had 1,000 applicants, but it was so much harder to filter through them. It's actually easy because you might only have, let's say you have only 30%. You had 1,000 applicants, you have 300, but you only have 30 billets open.
Right.
You still have 10,000 times what your availability is. So now you actually get to niche down, and the ones that are applying now truly are just looking for a profession where they can make a difference.
Yeah.
Because why else accept all the scrutiny that comes with it?
It's good stuff, Frank. So where can people reach out to you? How can they find you if they're listening? They want to do that?
You can find us on any of our social platforms at Armogan Training and YouTube or every major social platform. Our website's armoganct.com, but we put out free content all day, every single week. There's no limit to it. Go wherever, just type in Armogan Training. You'll find us everywhere.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for coming on. We're going to have you on again. You're just a treasure trove of information. And if you've been watching or you've been listening, thank you for doing that. We'll see you next week.